readers, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 6. I've really been struggling to find time for content creating, and it's really probably just a result of the holidays and some things that we've been doing to prepare for the holidays. But I did want to give you my reading wrap up for November. November. I had an ambitious list of books I wanted to finish in November, and I did okay. Let's talk about them and where I'm at with them. Let's start with this one. This is These Precious Days by Ann Patchett. You know, November was nonfiction November for me, so I did try to read a number of nonfiction books during the month, and I didn't do as well as I would have liked, but I did read several of these essays, and I'm planning to continue this over time because they're precious, really. I know. They're just lovely. One of them I read was about her first Thanksgiving. She writes about her father's because her mother was married more than once. She writes about how knitting, what was that one called? It was one of my favorite titles, How Knitting Saved My Life Twice. There's some great stuff in here, and I do want to just kind of keep this. I have it on my nightstand right now, but typically I don't read a lot as I'm going to bed because I'll fall asleep right away. So I think I'm going to move it to where I sit, usually in the living room, so I'll see it more, or maybe I'll keep it in here like on my shelf just so I can grab it when I have a minute between clients. I didn't do as well with Monster, She Wrote. I would like to keep at this too, but I just think that I'm going to prioritize this one first. But I did read one of these, and it was about Mary Shelley. So I enjoyed it, and I think it's great. I just didn't, I had an overwhelming number of books on my TBR. The Soul of America, I have to take back to the library. I renewed it 3 times. I got this far. I do have access to it to listen to, but it was just really heavy and dense, and I didn't have as much interest in it, to be quite honest. Do I think I'm going to complete this? Yeah. So this is a soft DNF for now, but I do need to just let it go for right now and maybe get back to it when I'm in a different mood. Listening to it is more overwhelming to me than reading it is, so I'm not sure that that's the answer either. It's a great book, and I appreciate all the research. And honestly, a large part of the size of this book is the annotation and the notes and the resource links and acknowledgments at the end. That is the end stuff. Yeah, so it's not quite as big, but it's really, really big. And I need to just return it because it's not going to happen. I would say my favorite nonfiction of the month was The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. I really enjoyed this. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was just a lovely portrayal of this woman's venture into partnering with this group of people to be able to study and learn more about the octopus. She is from the Northeast, and so she ended up with New England at the New England Aquarium in Boston, and just was befriended and accepted by the people that work there that were supporting these octopuses, which is the plural of octopus, I now know. They also it was surprising to me because I thought it was going to be about one octopus, and it's about more than one. So there is some loss in here. There are some celebrations in here. There's just a lot of interesting stuff that I didn't know and that I enjoyed. She also went a little bit less exciting to me was when she started to go diving, which was fine. It just wasn't my favorite part. So maybe that was what bumped it down to a 4, but I did really love these people, and I loved these characters of octopuses and how they all sort of had their own personality and their own way of being with the people that were caring for them, and also like how they procreate. Like there was just a lot of things I didn't know, so it was quite outstanding. Another nonfiction for me was Matthew Perry's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, which I had committed to reading right before he died, and I can't tell you what an impact that had on me, and how I also almost decided not to read it, but I decided to go forward and press on, and I did. This is not an easy read, I will tell you. It's not that it's complex in its writing. It's really not an easy read because this man struggled so hard against this addiction. And really, you could just feel his pain and his suffering and his helplessness and the lengths that he would go to in order to find the number of pills that he needed to be able to survive the day, which was staggering to me. And I think just because he had just died, it made it even harder maybe for me to read. If I had read it before that, I don't know if it would have been different. I'll never know. But it is completely honest and compelling and also just tragic. I do recommend it, but I want you to know it's tough. It's really, really tough. Then I got to some fiction. So one of my 5-star predictions for the latter half of this year was In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. And I went through this pretty quick and I really, really enjoyed it. I cannot tell you what I'm rating it because, I'll do a wrap up on that. But suffice it to say, I did complete it and I was really happy and grateful that I had gotten it. Completed that. I'll tell you more about it when I complete the next 2 books. Then I also read An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. And oh my gosh, this was if I don't read this book, I'm going to get rid of it pick. And I'm so glad I read this book. I can honestly tell you that this one is a 5-star read for me. It was almost a 4-star read for me, but I did bump it up in the end. This one was also very, very hard to read. Holy cow, it was hard to read. These relationships with these people, it was just well done, well written. This one follows a couple who are married and they're fairly new into their marriage. It is Celestial and Roy. Roy and Celestial met because of Celestial's best friend since childhood, whose name is Andre. And they met at college and then they reconnected later in life and then they began dating and got married. And so that's kind of how this is set up. And it's told from the perspective of Roy, Celestial, and Andre through the whole book. There are some periods of this book where you're just reading letters back and forth, but I think I told you the premise of this is that Roy is incarcerated for a crime he didn't commit. He was accused of raping a woman in a hotel room that they were staying at. And he didn't do it. And Celestial knew that he was with her. And there's really nothing they could do at that time. And so he's incarcerated wrongly. And this is sort of what happens as a result of his incarceration and their separation. And she turns to Andre for some support. And she tries to navigate the relationship with his parents and how to keep their relationship connected. And oh, it was good. It was really, really powerful. I flew through it. Are there lots of really difficult choices and conversations and experiences? Yeah, but I still really, really loved it. And the last book I'm going to talk about is Dead Simple, which is the Roy Grace series, #1, written by Peter James. I heard about this on the Currently Reading podcast, and it was available on Everand. Hard to get used to calling that Everand. This was the one I told you about that I was super excited about as a result of hearing that it was about a group of men who were going off on a bachelor party for their friend who was about to get married in a few days. And they put him in a coffin with a breathing tube, a dirty magazine, a walkie-talkie, and a flashlight. And they sealed him up and put some dirt over him and left him to go on to partying at night, which I'm not sure what their overall intention was later, I guess to go get him after a certain period of time, but they all end up dying in the car while they are driving away because they've all been drinking. And so here he is stuck in this coffin and he has no idea what's happened and how they're not coming back to get him. And it's incredibly interesting how this book evolves. And I really, really liked it. Did I give that a star rating? I did. I gave it 4 stars. So I would read another one by Peter James. I think that this was a solid start to a series. I don't know how the others are, but I might consider that. I don't know if I'll acquire them physically, but I do think that if they're available, I'll probably listen to another 1 or 2 and see how it goes. Okay, so that is my reading wrap up for the month of November. And I'm really struggling with December so far. So don't get your hopes up for the December reads because the ones I had planned on reading are just not working for me. And I don't think it's me. I think it's them. But again, not because they're terrible books, just because I'm just not in that space, I think. So we'll see what happens, but stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying Vlogmas. Hope you're doing some Vlogmas content too. If you're a content creator here on YouTube, let me know in the comments below if you're doing Vlogmas, because if I haven't seen it, I would love to see it. It's a way that I'm spending more time than I am reading actually at the moment. But as always, happy reading. Bye.